Hello guys, today we are going to be creating a sandman, right? A sandman in sculpture using geometry nodes, okay? Look like as if someone was sculpting a man on the sand, and I'm gonna take advantage of that to show you how to use the pointy cloud in Blender, the new pointy cloud geometry nodes uh, option in Blender. Actually, it's not an option, it's a possibility to render that. So, anyways, for create the Sandman, we will just we'll just have to reshape the mesh. I just dragged this doll here, this character, and we are gonna do that using this character as a base. But before that, if you are interested in Eevee real time and how to achieve realistic vibe and realistic feeling using Eevee and also combine it with Cyclone in one single click and having still a very fast render times, solid render times, no solid render frames with no flicking in ambient occlusion and nothing like that, you just check it out. This course that I have in Hotmart, and it's just 3 hours in which I show you my personal workflow and how to utilize Eve in the best way and cycles all together using the maximum of the Blender can offer to give you a very solid frames for animation, okay, for interiors. If you are interested in that, check this out. Let's go back to the video. Alright, so we have the doll here. We are gonna just create a cube, okay, and we are gonna attach the cube to the guy. So Ctrl G. Right now we will go here to the remesh options. These come by default like this. I think that 0.03 is good enough, okay. We will press remesh, wait a bit, and then Blender will remesh the guy for us. Here you go, that's what we got, okay. And now we just need to go on editable poly, oh my goodness, my mind is max driven today. Editable poly, that's how they call it in 3ds Max, but we are not in 3ds Max, so you go to edit poly. Okay, you just need to delete the faces below because you really don't need all of these for what we want to do. Okay, we just need to select all of them, then delete the faces, and we go from here. Okay, we can see that the geometry is pretty large. The remesh is a very large geometry. Okay, if we get out of edit mode, we can see, okay, and that's good, but we may try to reduce it a bit and decimate, but that's not the point here. Let's go to scoop it mode. On scoop it mode, we're gonna smooth a bit the mesh here, okay. I'm using the smooth. Where is the smooth? This guy. I'm sorry, I'm not the guy that is always sculpting, so it's easy for me to forget that. Okay, and then now we go to kind of smoothing out a bit the mesh, overall mesh. Okay, we can even go here and decimate a bit. Let's reduce a bit this mesh, okay. Using decimate modifier, we will reduce the mesh a bit, okay. Control A, let's apply this. Now if you go to scoop it mode, should be easier to move this out. Okay, you can just smooth this out by doing this, maybe this. Okay, alright, or we can use a filter to smooth all of them all together. Instead of inflate, we use smooth, and then we just drag and drop to the right, and we start to smooth the entire thing. Okay, something like this. I think this is more or less what we want. Something like this. Okay, don't need to worry about that. Alright? Okay, now we have our geometry here. You see the wireframe is kind of better, but we can use we can use scoop it mode. We can go here and use like inflate, but using the data topo, so it will create a new mesh here. Okay, so something like this, and then we smooth out. So just to create some connections and some imperfections, right? Like as if the sand was coming from here, more or less, right? Something like this. As if this guy was coming from the sun. Okay. Something like this, maybe. That's not bad. Okay, can grab this guy, make this straighten up a bit here, something like this, maybe something like this. Smooth this guy out, smooth this guy. Alright, maybe something like this, maybe something like this, oops, like this, right? We go to smooth, that's smooth, especially this a bit higher. So put this, it adapts better. Okay, so that's more or less. It's not perfect, but anyway, okay, we can kind of guess this is coming from the sand or something. Okay. Okay, so now we have our geometry. Okay, we don't need auto smooth. Let's forget this now. Let's open a new tab and go to geometry nodes. In here, inside the geometry nodes, we are gonna use this mesh to create a new geometry nodes. Bring this guy here. Now I don't have my grid visible. Okay, this grid, this guy here in the middle, just to have a better reference. Okay, with this guy selected, we create a new geometry nodes, and now we are gonna cast some points, Shift A, and cast some points here. Distribute points in the face. Okay, distribute points in the face. I want to use bottom disk using minimum distance, maybe 0.1, and the value I will add the multiply of this 10,000, multiply of this 10,000, so we have something like this. Something like that. Okay, and now we go to point radius. Let's set up the radius of the point to something maybe like this, but let's make this value random. Utilities, random value. Okay, something like that. Zero 0.1, 0.3 maybe. Okay, something like this. I think that's good. Okay, so now we are going to duplicate this guy here. Let's not do this. Let's do this. Let's make a group, Ctrl G, and then press tab to leave the group. Okay, we're gonna copy this group and copy this group again, and press here so we don't have a full copy of the group. Okay, and now we are gonna pass that value to all the density, and with Shift A we are gonna put join the geometry, so we are gonna join the other points. Now we have these guys triplicated. Okay, and then you go here inside these, put the mesh again, and you don't see any difference because all of them, those are replicate the points in the same place. So in order to modify this, you change the seed of one, then you go to the other one and change the seed for 3. Okay, now you have different points everywhere, right? And then you just increase this value. Be careful, just be careful so we don't get crazy with this. Okay, we don't get that crazy. Alright, let's try. See this guy, how he goes. Something like this, maybe this. This starts to look interesting. Let's put 200 and see how it goes. It seems very interesting. Okay, but now we need to at least have something to cover internally, because if we try to render this, we will see the holes. The option will be like increasing this amount here for example 300 maybe, and then now that we have almost no space between, we join with the main geometry. You see, that's our camera. Let's take a shot of this guy. And see how it goes. Oh, it's not rendering. Just because this guy is set it up to not show in the render. Okay, now let's render again. That's our Sandman. Here we go. So it looks really okay, right? But let me say that you want to apply material on this guy. Okay, let's try to apply material on this guy. And in order to do that, you can take the object and apply a material here. However, if you try to apply the material here, you see it's not changing anything. It's changing in the mesh inside, but it's not changing in the particles. Why? Because you need to apply the material here inside the geometry node. Okay, for that you press Shift A, go to materials and set material. Bam. And as soon as you set the material, the name here sand, you just put it here sand. So now we have the material applied to the whole geometry nodes, alright? To the whole geometry nodes. However, you may want to have these, you may want to have texture here. Let's apply a texture. Try to apply a texture. Let me see, terrain, seamless. Let's see. I love this search browser from Blender 3.1. It's much more responsive than all the previous versions. It's much better, much better. I don't think I have any sand texture here. Man, I don't think I have any sand texture. Maybe this? Okay, let's see how it goes. If we hide the geometry nodes and let's say instead of flat we put a box, UVW. Let's just follow. Let's just follow the UV coordinates, or maybe we can try the box. Let's try a box, okay, and put this in object. Now we have this. If we unhide the geometry nodes, here we go. We have our Sandman here, all right? And it's just taking the material as it should be. Okay. However, if you want to apply the UVW, and if you have a UVW here in this guy, let's select this guy and just we have a UV. We don't have any UV. Okay, let's apply a smart UV project just to show you. Okay, and if we unhide the geometry nodes, you see it's not following the coordinates. That's a tricky part. So in order to the particles follow the coordinates, you have to get this guy here and connect here. Okay, you have to get this guy, I guess is this guy, and connect here maybe. No. In order to have this UV here, you have to go here to your UV attributes, select this, grab the name, Ctrl C, okay, and then we go here and instead of texture coordinate, we will apply a attribute, okay, attribute color, and here we place the name of the attribute. Okay, so instead of using text to coordinate, you will have the attribute of your UVW. So now if you go here to your UVW, go here to edit mode, of your UVW, reduce the size, you see is updating in real time. Okay, let's render out and see how it goes. This sand guy. Okay, let's render this out and see. Okay. Okay, not too bad. You can decrease the radius and make this even better in terms of because if you get too close, you see that you have the or even using the better texture, or even using a better UV. Scaling up a bit more, or something you think it makes sense. Let's render out again. Here we go. Geometry nodes. I think that's good enough. You can do lots of things with this. You can decrease the radius and make even thinner sand, or changing the texture, and do whatever you want, because it's geometry nodes. It's a big deal for everything. Okay, I hope you like it. If you like it, press the button. If you dislike it, press the button, and subscribe the channel if you think it's useful for you. I will be releasing soon like more comparison between Max and Blender. I'm not doing that much now because I'm all these Blender changes in Blender 3.0. I have to study that, so but the comparisons is gonna come back. Okay, stay tuned. See you.